Good morning, everybody. Lovely to see you. Really lovely to see you this Monday morning. Just done a beautiful meditation with Will, who was also on Zoom. That was really great. So I'm in the mood now for a little bit of gentle movement. Please join me by lying on your back. You could have your legs extended. You could have your feet on the floor. Your eyes may be open, looking up above you, or they might be softly closed. But once you've settled down, taking a few moments to observe what's here right now. Taking these first few moments to acknowledge feelings in the body, sensations in the body. Noticing without wanting to change anything, what it feels like in the body to breathe. Is there anywhere in the body that your attention wanders as you notice the breath? Are there particular places where you feel you're holding tension? Where you could possibly invite just a little bit of softness in, knowing that you're completely safe and secure and connected to the world around you right now. There's nothing more you need to be fully alive. And in that same vein, just noticing if there are any lingering thoughts, emotions, maybe leftover dreams from your night, maybe anticipations for your day. And welcoming all of this in. All of this in as a fabric of being alive. The body and the breath, thoughts and emotions. And inviting in for yourself a sense of why you're here. A sense of what's brought you to practice an hour of gentle yoga early this Monday morning. And in so doing, allowing an intention to infuse your practice, to come into your body. We do this so that we practice consciously. We do this so to really make it count, maybe for now, maybe for the day, maybe for the week or beyond. After all, coming to the yoga mat is simply a slice or a manifestation of being alive more broadly. And then please stretch your legs long if they're not already, and take your feet out so they're about, well, they're pointing towards each corner of your mat. And your arms are out by your sides, maybe a little bit further away than usual. Palms facing up. And we'll take a few moments in a Kriya. It's a very gentle cleansing practice for the joints to bring attention into the relationship between breath and movement. So dropping your attention into your feet and taking a breath in. And with the breath out, allowing your toes to turn inwards, with a sense that the big toes might eventually touch the floor. So you're internally rotating your feet. And now on the inhale, gently turn your feet out with a sense that the little toes might touch the floor. And exhale, big toes into the middle. And take a few rounds. And you'll probably notice that this movement that's consciously initiated with the breath and then the feet moves up the legs to rotate the thigh bones in the hip sockets. A very gentle lubricating movement from the toes up to the hips. You're inhaling to open your feet out wide. You're exhaling to turn them inwards. Keeping your legs soft, pliable. Having a sense that there's nowhere to go. Fantastic. And then just allowing your feet, your legs to rest. And turning your palms down so they're facing the floor. And now inhaling gently with your attention in your hands, turning your palms over. So you end up rolling onto the back of your hands against the floor. Maybe your fingers and thumbs touch the floor. And then as you exhale, slowly roll over your little fingers to turn the palms down. And then you continue like this, attention pouring into the hands. Inhale, palm towards the ceiling. Exhale, palms facing down. And with this movement with the breath, noticing how there's a ripple of articulation from the fingertips all the way up the arms to the shoulders, where the upper arm bones or the head of the upper arm bones are gently rotating in the shoulder sockets. It's a very, very subtle practice. Perhaps with the quality of an A living being like an insect that's very recently or just now hatched out into the air from its pupa, from its chrysalis, I should say. So it's gradually feeling skin against the air, gradually encountering the qualities of movement, the ability to move. In a very soft and subtle way. Fabulous. And then allowing your palms to face down as you become still. And then pouring your attention into the weight of your head, really feeling the head against the floor. And taking a breath in. With the exhale, gently rolling the head towards the left. But this time with the inhale, rolling all the way to the right. And with the exhale, all the way to the left. Not missing anything, really feeling the head against the floor as you roll gently. Inhaling to the right. Exhaling to the left. A few rounds. Okay, we're going to bring these three movements together. Don't worry if it doesn't work straight away. So we'll start looking towards the left with the toes pointing out and the palms facing down. And beginning to breathe in as you move your toes inwards, as you begin to turn your thumbs up, you look towards the ceiling, and continue with the breath in. As you look towards the right, the palms turn up, the toes are as far in as they'll go. And then with the exhale, gently coming back, opening out the toes, gradually taking the palms towards the floor and looking to the left. As you inhale, begin to turn the toes in, the palms up, the head moves to the right. You can pause and then exhale, come back. Toes out, palms down, head to the left. And I'll leave you for a few rounds to continue in your own time. Very soft in the joints. We're inviting life into movement into the body. Because this synchronization of movement requires that quite a lot of self-organization, it means that we're intimately and consciously mapping our neural pathways with the movements we're creating. So our brain and body are inevitably inseparable and connected. And maybe taking a couple more rounds before you settle in any way that feels comfortable for you to absorb the effects of Kaya, Kriya. Maybe you notice that the breath has changed, or that the way in which you meet the floor has changed. And then please stand your feet on the floor. Arranging your feet so that you can release out through the back of your pelvis. And interlace your hands behind your head. So you have a sense of your skull being cradled by your hands. And your elbows released down towards the floor. And we'll begin with that very familiar movement of tilting the pelvis and making a little tunnel for the lower back. As you inhale, rolling over the tailbone. And as you exhale, flattening your lower back against the floor, almost peeling the tailbone up as you press into your feet. Come into a few rounds like this, rolling over the tailbone. And then rolling the pelvis back, pressing into the feet. And just noticing the quality of this very simple movement of pelvis and spine. Fantastic. And you're going to continue with the rolling of the pelvis, the movement of the spine in this way, but we're going to add a little bit of movement of the upper body. So please inhale now and roll the pelvis forwards, this little arch in the lower back. But as you exhale and you flatten your lower back, bring your elbows together and use the hammock of your hands to lift your head, but without any strain. So you end up looking in between your knees. You're only using your hands to lift your head, not any other muscles. And on the inhale, gently release back down, elbows open. The pelvis tilts forwards. And on the exhale, again, flatten, elbows draw together to scoop your head off the floor. And continue in your own time, super gentle. So this is not a sit-up. We're not trying to create a six-pack. We're much more interested in the synchronization of movement with the breath and the ease of movement with the spine. Lovely. Take it slow. Monica, slow it right down. Great. So your arms are like butterflies' wings. And your spine is just supple and responding to the breath. And the next time you come down, staying down, but keeping your hands where they are, your feet on the floor. And just taking a breath or two here. And we're going to add something a little bit different. And again, I really can't overemphasize that this is not about strain. It's about minimum effort rather than really trying to push yourself into some kind of fitness exercise. So we breathe in and roll the pelvis forwards. But this time, as you breathe out and flatten the pelvis, you bring your elbows together, but you lift your left knee and you bring your torso and elbows around to the left. So it's a tiny twist. And then as you breathe in, you release. So we're moving diagonally across the body here on the exhale. And as you exhale, left knee comes in, your elbows and torso come over to the left. It's as if you're trying to tap your right elbow on the outside of your left knee, but don't worry if you can, it doesn't matter at all. What I'm looking for is a gentle rotation in the spine and maybe a little bit of crunching in the left side of the body. Allow the breath to guide your movement, to pace you. And it's quite interesting to notice what you feel in the rest of the body. How do you feel the right foot, for example, or the back of your pelvis as you rotate over to the left? What do you notice about your shoulders or the rib cage? There's quite a lot going on. And making the one you're on, your last one. And then taking a breath or two here. And then we'll begin to take that to the other side. So consciously, try not to skip any parts of this. Consciously inhale and roll the pelvis forward so that your belly is opening. And on the exhale, you flatten, lift the right knee, as if you're going to tap the right knee with your left elbow, looking to the right. Please be careful with your neck, no strain. And continuing for a few rounds. Feel the breath move the body. Okay, making the one you're on the last one. We're going to do one more stage in this. But first of all, just settling, taking a breath or two. So what we just did went diagonally across the body, and now we're going to do the same breathing, moving and lifting, but you're going to go from right elbow to right knee rather than right elbow to left knee. So let's try this. Inhaling, rolling over the pelvis. And exhale, flattening as you lift your right knee and you take your right elbow towards the right knee. So it's the same side. And just stay on the right for now and take a few of these. And I really understand that there's a lot going on, so this might be a difficult thing to do, but see if you can notice how it's the breath and the pelvis that initiates the movement. And the rest of the body, the rest of the things I'm asking you to do follow suit in a relationship of articulation. And then switch sides when you're ready. It's looking really good. Really good. Just doing 2 more, please. And when you've finished, just releasing now, let's just release the whole body and have a rest. Arms by your sides, legs long. And breathe and feel the whole body, maybe a little bit more alive, a little bit more vibrant. Notice the contact with the floor. We'll take a very, very gentle twist here. If you take your arms out wide and then take your feet to the floor, mat distance apart so that your knees drop in to the center. And then begin to slide your knees to the left as you look to the right. And in your own time, begin to come back the other way. You look to the ceiling as your knees lift to the top. You look to the left as your knees drop to the right. Very gentle rinsing through the whole spine, from the pelvis to the head. And it may be you want to stay on one side for a breath or 2. When I come over to one side, I quite like to take so as I come over to the right, I take the right foot over the left knee. So for some people that feels quite insecure and not a good thing to do, and some people really like the extra pressure and what this does for the pelvis. So just see how it is for you. And really breathe into your belly. Before you bring that over to the other side, to stay just for 3 or 4 breaths. Beautiful. And then unfolding, take a few moments just flat again before we roll over onto our bellies. Quite a simple practice this morning. And I like to roll onto my belly by standing one foot on the floor. So let's say the right foot, and just pressing into that foot to roll over. And you're going to come over onto your bellies with your hands underneath your forehead. So let's take the left hand over the right and settle the forehead on the hands.
And we're going to come into a sense of that very long, mobile neck that begins in between the shoulder blades. So it's very, very long. And from that point in between your shoulder blades, so about here, you could even take a thumb there to kind of tell yourself where it starts, where your bra strap maybe goes across your ribs. We're going to move. So from that place with very smooth movement, begin to look along the floor. And maybe you can lift your head a little higher up the wall. So you use your eyes as well as this long neck. And then you very gently come back down again. So we're using the eyes and awareness of every vertebra of this mid to upper part of the spine to correspondingly peel the chest off the floor and lift the head. And the point of this is not to press into your hands and arms at all. It's not about pushing yourself as high as you can come. Fantastic. Try again to slow it down a little. There's a tendency to rush. And your body and brain will really thank you for slowness in terms of its memory learning. And just notice how you breathe. I've intentionally not given you a direction for the breath here. And notice how the movement might travel down further in the spine, if you might notice it feeling. And try not to take extra or disproportionate amount of movement into the neck. Trying to keep a very smooth curve so that we're getting really in behind the ribs, in between the shoulder blades. Fabulous. Making that one your last one and taking a few breaths to rest. Please slide your arms long, so they're right out in front of you, palms are facing down. And we're going to do some movements to animate and bring to life the back muscles and the whole back, more the lower back now actually. So when you breathe in, lifting your right leg only. Doesn't have to lift high, and hovering a moment before you breathe out and lower the leg. And just continue with the right leg only for a few rounds. And you know, some people will lift the leg a tiny bit, and some people will lift high. It doesn't matter. Definitely don't want to strain your lower back muscles. And when you're ready, change sides so that you're lifting the left leg with the breath in. You're hovering and allowing the left leg to come to the floor on the breath out. It can be surprisingly hard work.
Excellent. Let that go.
And when you're ready, we're going to lift the right leg and the left arm so it's diagonal, and you might find that your chest and head lift, but they don't have to. Right leg and left arm, really pointing through the toes and the fingers now. As you bring to life this diagonal stretch across the body and exhale, come down. It's not really a stretch, I just mean a diagonal attention. And take a few rounds like this. Slow is good.
Excellent. Changing sides when you're ready. So it's the left leg and the right arm. Really activating through the fingertips and the toes to bring the whole line of attention to life. Okay. And then let that go.
Next time you're ready to move, you're going to lift everything up on the inhale, spreading your fingers and your toes. And exhale, come down. Continue. And try and allow the whole of the back to be involved, not just one place. Feel the whole back around the shoulder blades, the mid to lower back. And I'm going to give you an optional movement that you might or you might not want to do. You're going to inhale to come up. But as you exhale, you're going to open your wings, really sliding your elbows down the side of your body, shoulder blades down the back. And you can stay up if you're feeling like you want to. Take 4 or 5 of these movements without coming back down again. Not going to be for everybody. It's like you're swimming in the air.
Excellent. Keep going if that's good for you. Excellent. Really feel the shoulder blades slide down the spine. There's a lot of attention on the spine today. And then coming down to rest.
And choosing in your own time when you want to come back to a child's pose. Knees together or knees apart. As we now take a counter pose for all that back bending. Folding the body over itself. In a very soothing, gentle forward fold. Spinal flexion. And breathe. I'd like to bring in a little bit of lateral flexion, a little bit of a side bend into this child's pose, but don't take it too strong. Just going to walk your hands and your torso around to the right. But notice how your left sitting bone might lift off the heel. You don't want that to happen because you want maximum sensation in the left side of the torso. And your head is in between your upper arms. If possible, you could take your left hand over the right hand And then drop into that left shoulder, drop into that left buttock, and feel what's going on in the left side of the body. Feel it in the hip, the side waist, the ribs, the shoulder. And really take your breath into that sensation. Very soft in the face. Take a full breath in and a long breath out. Before you very slowly come back to the middle to neutralize. And then move around to the left. Remembering that you don't want your right sitting bone to really come off the right heel. So you only come as far as is right for you, and maybe take your right hand over the left, drop into the right shoulder and hip, and then breathe into the right side of the body.
So we're taking the spine in all of its range of movement today. We've flexed it, we've extended it in back bends. We're taking a lateral flexion, we've rotated it in a twist. And then please come back to the center. And come up onto all fours and curl your toes under. And sit back towards your heels. So you get a nice little stretch in the feet and the toes. So you're sitting right back so that your shoulders should be dropped. Your head dangling between your shoulders, but not to the floor. And becoming really quiet in the ribs and the shoulders first. Breathing here. And then when you're ready, lift the knees about 5 centimeters off the floor. So I know that this isn't easy for everybody. And just hover there and just notice the effort now required to lift the knees. And I find it hard, my legs are aching, but I'm not pushing into my hands. I don't know about you. And then drop the knees. Things become a bit quieter again. And then lift the knees again and begin to gently unfold, taking your bottom back and up as your legs unfold. They don't have to straighten. It's quite nice to bring the legs into movement. We haven't done anything so much, and then folding back in again, slowly unfolding and refolding the body. Breathing. So we are looking to extend the spine in a downward dog. We're looking for maximum length from the top of the head up to the sitting bones. Lengthen the side body. As well as feeling an opening in the whole of the back body. Obviously, you rest in child if it becomes too much. And then one of these times you might love your downward dog so much that you want to stay up. Take a few breaths. T-shirts falling out of my leggings. Lovely. Breathe and feel the whole body now, the length of the spine, the
whole of your skin alive with the breath. Take a full breath in and then gently bring yourself back down to a child's pose as you breathe out. Just noticing how your breath may have changed now. And we're going to do a variation of that, which is an excellent variation if you have pain in the wrists at all. We're going to rest on the forearms, and it doesn't matter how your hands are. They could be down, up, they could be together. You curl your toes under. You kind of want your elbows underneath your shoulders, that's all I would say. And yeah. So we're going to do exactly what you did for a downward dog, lifting the knees, but now you'll feel yourself pressing into your lower arms and gently unfolding. So bringing a little bit more strength into the upper body, but with this lovely long side body, long spine, and then come back down again. And just take a few rounds like that. You're encouraging your heels towards the floor, but they don't have to come all the way down. Breathe. This is probably the most effort, at least in my mind, and the whole practice is doing this today. It's Dolphin Pose. If you love it, you come up and you stay for a few breaths. And you are actively pushing into your lower arms here to lift the ribs away from the floor, to lift the bottom away from the floor. Your neck and head are completely free. And when you're ready, take a rest in child. And of course, roll into the shoulders if that feels right for you. Probably notice now that everything's become a bit more charged up. Allowing the breath to settle. We're going to do one more final variation. And this is where you might want to use your blanket, or I'm just going to roll my mat up. And just to emphasize, this is not about coming into a headstand, because some people, at the minute we put the head on the floor, get a little bit nervous. Don't worry, we're not coming into a headstand. But we're using the principles of what we've been doing to introduce some weight onto the head. That's why you want the mat rolled up, or maybe a blanket. So your toes are curled under. The position of the hands is important. Please watch me. And if you've done this before, you can get on with it. But otherwise, please watch me. You're placing your hands about just a little bit in front of your knees. And you're bringing your forehead to the floor, but not in between your hands. There's a kind of triangle between your hands and your forehead. So your nose is against the floor, your forehead is against the floor. And then you're going to roll over your head again. But now in this different aspect, as you roll onto the top of your head, you feel the weight pouring into the top of your head and the back of the neck opening. And then you roll back again. And that's all I'd like you to do to begin with, and maybe all I'd like you to do at all. See how you get on with this gentle rolling onto the top of your head. Lengthen the back of the neck, rolling back again.
I would say, Monica, that blanket looks too thick, and actually Gisela as well. You want, not Gisela, sorry, Gila. You do want something under your head, but not too much, because imagine you were to come into headstand, you would get really unstable. Yeah. And Monica, you want your hands closer to your knees. Yeah, perfect. So that is really good. We're bringing movement into the spine. We're articulating through the body. And it might be that it's enough for you. You keep going just as you are. Or maybe as you roll onto the top of your head, you lift your knees off the floor and you come right onto your tips of your big toes. Spine lovely and long. And then you gently come back down again. So it's about the repetition and about the movement, not about whether you come up or not. Taking a few rounds like this, really great. Some of this really is just to investigate your reaction to having the weight on the top of your head, because some people hate it so much. Please don't do more than feels good for you. And Gisela, I don't know why I'm calling you Gisela. Gisela, if you want to, because you're familiar with this, you could come up and take your knees onto your elbows, but that is only because I'm only saying that because I know you have a headstand in your practice. It's not for anybody else necessarily, unless you want to. Watching the breath. And then let's call that a day in terms of that movement anyway. And take a little rest in child, knees wide apart, hands under your head. You might feel a little tender in the upper back, the head, the shoulders. We're not used to taking all that weight in an inversion in that way. And then it can feel quite nice to sit up again on your heels and roll into the shoulders, really feel the shoulder blades. And then if you'd like to come with me with your hands interlaced behind you, if that is possible. It might be that you take your hands to your lower back or you hold your elbows. And if kneeling isn't comfortable for you, you could kneel up high or you could stand for this practice. Just want to roll the shoulders up to the ears and back to draw the arms out behind you. So there's a little squeeze of the shoulder blades. This is called Yoga Mudra. You might want to watch me first. So you inhale to really inflate the chest. You could lift the chin. And then slowly come down as you exhale onto your belly, onto your forehead, onto your head as you bring the arms over, hips above your knees. So I'm saying inhale to lift and expand the chest. And I'm saying exhale to come down, but actually you might take a few breaths and take it really slow.
So it's the same movement you were doing in that knot headstand, but you're now involving the shoulders and the arms much more. And it's lovely done standing up as well. You take the weight off the head and you still get the little forward fold going on. If you come into the pose and you want to stay here for a few breaths, that's also fine. If you feel comfortable and confident on your head, if you're standing, it's also fine. You can take your legs wider apart and come into a standing forward fold with the arms over the top. And I had so much more I wanted to do with you this morning, but an hour never seems quite long enough. So we're coming to the end of the physical practice. Gently releasing back. And again, now you might want to circle into the wrists. You might want to circle into the shoulders. You might want a little stretch up. We're going to prepare for Shavasana. So doing whatever you need to do. You're warm enough. As you come either to sitting or lying down. And even though that practice maybe didn't bring you up to standing, I'm hoping that you feel enlivened and also able to rest now. Taking a few moments to settle. Noticing all the surfaces against your skin, whether that's air or cloth, the floor. And being aware of your body breathing itself. Possibly recalling any intention you set for the practice, if that's relevant. And I'll leave you with a poem by Kafka. You need not leave the room. Remain sitting at your table and listen. You need not even listen. Simply wait. Just learn to become quiet and still and solitary. The world will freely offer itself to you to be unmasked. It has not choice. It will roll in ecstasy at your feet.
And you may, of course, want to stay longer in your relaxation. I'm going to end the class now, end the Zoom. And I hope you have a lovely day. If you are coming out now, you might want to come to sitting, maybe close your eyes just to simply consolidate and to notice how you feel, if there are any little movements you need to make, any deeper breaths. There's no hurry. And taking a full breath into the heart. And as you breathe out, gently bowing your head. Emptying the lungs completely before you breathe in and lift your head, open your eyes. Thank you very, very much for joining me today. Namaste.